Adventure rallies are something of an acquired taste. To the outsider, they may not look like much more than a lot of guys paying money to show off their adventure rigs, riding in each other's dust along dirt roads, then spending the evening getting a little buzzed by a campfire before retiring to a tent to do it all again the next day. And to some that go, that's exactly the break they're looking for, but they can be so much better. Adventure rallies are a great way to meet other riders, see amazing new places, and talk bikes with other enthusiasts. This year I had a great time at the Flying Monkey Adventure Rally and After Rally right here in my backyard of southern Utah. While the rides were fun and the people are always amazing at these, I realized that there are a few things that any rider can do to have a better time on an adventure rally. And the first tip is to follow the rally rules. Listen to the rally leaders and the ride leaders. They may have different instructions than what I list here, and these rules and instructions that they give will supersede anything that I say in this video. So always listen and follow the ride leaders and the rally instructors. The second tip, and a good rule of thumb for any ride, is to use the buddy system. This limits dust, increases visibility, keeps the group together, ensures safety, and keeps riders of similar skill levels together. And here is how it's done.
Even rides with 3 or 4 riders can get really dusty really fast when they bunch up. Dust can cause serious riding hazards, choke air filters, and just be miserable to ride in. If riders bunch up on a more technical ride, one rider in the front who stacks on a hill climb could cause a whole group to lose momentum and crash. Another problem with bunching up is that one half of the group may go much faster or slower than the other half. And if one half of the group misses a turn or second guesses a fork in the road, then it can be a miserable day of backtracking and confusion. The solution to all of this is to ride in staggered pairs, each at an interval behind the leading group's dust. Each rider is responsible for the rider behind him or herself, and each pair is responsible for the pair behind them. This spaces the ride out considerably, which really limits dust, but can cause a problem with turnoffs. So, at forks in the road, each pair stops and waits until the next pair catches up and stops behind them. Then the first pair leaves while the next pair waits until the other pair arrives. That way everybody from lead to sweep stays on the right path, out of the dust, and nobody misses a turn.
And that brings us to the third tip, and that is to have a head count of the group. Every single person in the group should know the total number of riders in the group and the total number of riders behind them. That way you can follow trail etiquette by hand signaling to oncoming traffic of how many riders are behind you, and in an emergency situation, you can quickly find out who is missing and their approximate location.
In a mechanical malfunction or injury situation, the affected rider should never be last, and no rider should ever be left alone. Tip number 4 relates to group size. And while it's undeniable that rolling through a ghost town or back road with 20 to 50 or more bikers like a steel cavalry is pretty glorious, big groups can cause big problems.
Off-road, there can be problems with everything from fuel range to rider capability to the aforementioned dust. In town, large groups can be stymied by a single yellow light.
And have you ever tried to get lunch at a remote diner with 40 other riders when there's only one cook in the kitchen?
Smaller groups mean more camaraderie, a better chance of getting to know people by name, and just less hassle all around. The fifth tip has less to do with riding structure and more to do with meeting people and enjoying the times off the motorcycles, which is one of the best reasons to attend an adventure rally in the first place. It's to get in the middle of things. Go out of your way to meet people with different motorcycles, different bike sizes, and different skill levels.
One of the biggest complaints about most adventure rallies is that they can get really cliquey really fast. And some say that if you don't have a KTM or a KLR or a AT or a GS, you're an outcast. So let's do our very best to break that mold and meet people and help people and be friendly and inclusive to everybody at the rally, whether they show up on a brand new GS or a shiny Dakar out KTM or a ratty old dual sport DR or a clapped out 88 TW200. Let's leave the socioeconomic biases to politics and country clubs. Adventure rallies should have no place for that crap.
Number 6 is on the same vein, and that is the more help you give, the better friends you'll make. Let's face it, on an adventure rally, somebody's going to crash, bikes are going to get dropped, something's going to break, stuff is going to get lost, and somebody's going to need help. The more you get off your bike and help lift other riders up, get in the mix and offer tools and assistance to fix broken bikes and help find lost stuff, the more friends you're going to make.
Some of my favorite times during these rallies have been the moments off the bike to patch a punctured radiator or a side case. It's these times that you can jump in and help, and it's often during these unfortunate situations that a personality comes out and jokes are made and breeze is shot and the best friendships are forged. Which brings us to tip number 7, which is stay positive.
On day 1 of the FMAR this year, I swept for a large group to Toro Weep, 100 miles out on a long, boring, marbly, dusty, hot, straight dirt highway through the barrens of northern Arizona. When we got just 5 miles from the Toro Weep overlook, the ranger turned us around because of some bureaucratic BS about the size and spacing of our group. I was ornery and I let people know it, and frankly, it ruined my day. Don't be like me, be like Joe. Because the next day, Joe punched a hole in his radiator in the middle of nowhere, which ended up turning the ride around and being a $500 repair for him, and yet he managed to smile the whole time. With the help of Dallas and a few others, he got to work to patch it, he stayed positive, and he enjoyed the rest of the after rally.
Not only that, but everybody in the entire group was helpful and positive and understood that the group should stick together and head back with Joe. If anybody in the group had thrown a fit, it would have been understandable because people came from a long way away to ride in the Badlands and nobody wanted to end the ride early.
However, everybody kept their cool, put their heads down, got to work fixing the bike, smiled through gritted teeth, told a few jokes, and rode out. We cemented some solid friendships and built a lot of respect over that busted radiator. Anybody can whine and complain when something goes wrong, and nobody would fault them for it. Nobody faulted me for being grumpy after riding 200 miles because I got turned back at Toro Weep. Nobody would have faulted Joe for being upset over busting his radiator on a simple off. Adventure rides don't always go as planned. Everybody crashes sometime. Everybody breaks stuff. It's how you get up and move along that makes the difference.
I want to personally thank Joe and Dallas and everybody else in that second day's group ride for being a positive example to me. Because it's easy to complain if things aren't going your way. Maybe you're upset at the ride leader because the pace may be too slow or too fast for your liking. Maybe he's stopping to take too many videos or pictures or talking too much or giving too much history on the location. Maybe the leader is riding too fast to be comfortable, or the guy in the back is riding too slow and holding everybody up. Maybe the trail is too difficult or too easy, or it's just not what you expected. The weather might be bad, or too hot, or too cold. Your bike might be running poorly, or worse yet, you're stopped because somebody else's bike is a pile of crap. Seriously, there are a lot of things that can go wrong in a group. And if group riding is not your thing, then nobody's stopping you from riding alone. If you ride in a group, especially at a rally, you're kind of waiving your rights to complain about the group that you chose to ride with. So hopefully these tips make your next adventure rally a little bit better. Thank you so much for watching, and a huge thanks to Jesse for organizing the Flying Monkey Adventure Rally, which was fantastic as always. And a special thanks to my patrons for making each and every video on this channel possible. Thank you guys so much. You guys are the greatest. Much love, eveRide out.
Getting ready for a little dirt jump here. Little dirt jump.